Hello, and thank you for joining us in our podcast called The Growth Journey. This is the place where you will start your personal growth and development. I'm glad you're here. I'm your host, Sheryl Hart. Have you ever experienced failure and losses? And I'm sure you have, because all of us have those experiences in our life, and it's actually a part of our life. If we knew it is part of our life, then why is it? Many of us are not really prepared for it and ready for it, isn't it? So meaning we are not, accepting it as it comes, and sometimes we view failure and losses as a bad thing or in a negative way. One of the reasons why failure hurt because of our expectations. So let me explain a bit more what I meant by expectations, okay? So I'll take an example, let's say expectation into our relationship, especially if you are trying to build a relationship with someone. For example, in the early age stage of the dating, we have expectations how our dating should go, and we want it to go well. Of course, first dating has to go well as a planned, right? And imagining that it will be a perfect date night. Once you two are start dating, then you start planning to get, hopefully down the road, to get married and have a family, right? You have all of this planned out. The thing is, all of this planned out in your head, in your mind, that everything is just picture perfect and no one will do you wrong, or this person is just perfect for you. And everything will be exactly how you envision it and exactly what it looks like. Then we have so much expectation that we forgot that life is not perfect. There will be roadblocks, challenges along the way, but we hold on to our original plan and expectations. And if everything do not go well, then it hurts, right? And we felt like someone betrayed us. And all of the problems and challenges that piled up, instead of changing our game plan, we still hold on to the original expectations in which it doesn't really match of what our current situation is. So, in a sense that there will be a great land, there's going to be a great land of discussions about expectation, but I won't go through it all here in this episode, so maybe in a future episodes. But I just want to illustrate that our disappointments, failures, and losses are sometimes based on how we feel about it, and due to we have a high expectation either in ourselves, to the person who we would like to build a relationship with, high expectation in our job, career, and high expectation with our kids and husbands and to anyone close to us. But the point is, it is perfectly normal to have expectation because we expect other people to treat us with respect, right? And to value us. However, there are times or some things that we do not have a control of. And if this is the case, then we need to adjust our game plan and our expectation and see if it still matches the original plan. And then if not, then that's the time to make changes, make adjustments, and face head on any failures and losses that we are facing, or even setbacks that we're currently experiencing in our life. It's all part of it. It's all part of it. And we need to accept that is coming. And it's a matter of how we accept it, that we are at peace with it and adapt to it. You see, let me since I mentioned about adapt, and let me explain that a bit more about the adaptions, right? So you see, adaptability will play a bigger role when we are experiencing losses and failures. There are some things that we can control of, and some we do not have any control of. And what we can do then is to do the things that we can control. What we can do then is to do the things that we control that others do not have any control. So the things that we can control, for example, is our emotions. We can control ourselves with our emotions and how we perceive it and how we cope with it. And other things that we do not have control of, in due time, it will solve itself out. You just have to have faith and hope and work hard on on the things that you have a control of. And why many of us are not trained of it? I don't know. It's just a matter of how we view other things. So when we are handling failures and losses, we are not prepared for it, and even disappointments, right? It is because we are all trained from the very young age. We are all trained on how to become successful, not realizing that, and this is the code, not realizing that. Pay attention to this, that success is the result after, just underline that, after we've successfully managed all the trials, tribulations, failures, losses, disappointments, and setbacks. When you manage it to the best of your ability, you will then become successful. Okay, so that's how we are trained. That's how we're trained. We always It's always good to aim something to be what success means to us, which is I previously released that episode, what is success means to you. So if you want to go back and listen to it again, feel free to do so. Now, once you identify those things that make what it means to you become successful to you, then how you manage all of these failures and losses, because they are come. It's not if, it's when they come. Are you prepared for it? Are you ready for it? Right? So author Wallace Hamilton explained it best, and this is what he said: the increase of suicides, alcoholics, and even some forms of nervous breakdowns is evidence that many people like us are trained for success. We are training for success when they should be training for failure. So failure is far more common than success, isn't it? And poverty is more prevalent than wealth. And most of all, disappointment is more normal than arrival. So keep those in mind. That's why we created this episode. The intent is to how we can manage that, how we manage all these failures and losses once they come. Okay, so this is why it's important to learn how to manage them. So you see, I didn't say get rid of them, right? Because you can't. No one can get rid of failures and losses. You just have to learn how to wave the storm. I'm sure you heard those saying, that wave the storm, because as we all know, in due time it will pass. The storm will pass. It is only temporary unless you make it permanent. Okay? So my mentor, John C. Maxwell, have written a great book called Sometimes You Win and Sometimes You Learn. Not lose, but you learn. So sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So it is a great book, and I highly, highly recommended that you get a copy of this and include them in your collections of personal growth library. If you do not have collections or tools, resources such as books, podcasts, or anything else in your personal growth library, I really highly recommend that you start collecting them and start studying them yourself and start applying them. Not just study or listening to it. I would suggest to start applying it one thing at a time. Okay? So I will refer a lot of John Maxwell teaching from his book, Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn, in our episode today, because it's so good that I think you will get some value from it. Okay, so John Maxwell have shared the top 5 ways people make their life harder for themselves. So knowing this top 5, you will be able to avoid them. Okay, so grab a pen and piece of paper, as we will learn something today. So I'll explain to you what are the 5 ways people make their life harder for themselves. So you can avoid this on your own. Okay, so the 5, let me list all the 5 first, and then we'll go each one of them. Okay, so the number 1, what are the 5 ways people make their life harder? Number 1, life is more difficult for those who stop growing and learning. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, life is more difficult for those who don't think effectively. Okay, the third one is life is more difficult for those who don't face reality. And the fourth one is life is more difficult for those who are slow to make proper adjustment. And the fifth one is life is more difficult for those who don't respond correctly to challenges. Okay, so those are the top 5. Now let's go back to the first one and explain it a bit more. What are those? Okay, so number 1, Life is more difficult for those who stop growing and learning. So some people never make the intentional effort to grow. Really, they don't. They just stay where they at. They don't grow. They just just life happens. Just whatever. I'm just gonna wait to it, right? Some think they will grow automatically. This is why when I first in my first introduction of this podcast, way back in the first episode or probably second episodes, I I explained the importance of personal growth because a lot of us, especially to those who graduated high school, colleges, or even they have MBA or PhD, they stop growing, and they thought that the growth just comes to them automatically, but not knowing you gotta keep investing to yourself for your growth. Okay, so others don't value growth and hope to progress in life without pursuing it. This is why our podcast, The Growth Journey with Sheryl Hart, was created. Our goal is to empower you and equip you on your growth journey. This is not a one-time deal at all. It is a consistent learning opportunity on a daily basis or a weekly basis. I prefer daily though. But daily or weekly basis. This is also the reasons why it's called a journey, because our life and our growth is a journey, not a sprint, right? And we are always learning every day. There's so much more to learn in our life than just doing it a one-time deal. That's why we don't do it in a one-time deal. It's always progressing, right? So if you do not want your life to be difficult, never stop growing and learning. Okay? So number 2, life is more difficult for those who don't think effectively. So people who get ahead thinking about what they are doing, why they are doing it, and how they can improve. It doesn't mean that those people who think effectively always succeed. It actually is the opposite. They make a lot of mistake. They have more mistake than succeeding. However, they don't make the same mistakes again. So if you recall, the saying goes, learn by experience, right? Learn by experience. We always heard that. It is not just learning by experience, but I will actually add into it evaluated the experience, which is much more effective. Because when you do evaluate those experiences that you have, then you can learn the mistakes that you have made and hopefully you don't do it again. So instead of learning by experience, I will say evaluated the experience. This is where your reflections will come. What did you learn? How you can improve? How you can do differently the next time? Okay, that's how you evaluate those experiences. Okay, so the third one is life is more difficult for those who don't face reality. Okay, Dennis Waitley have said most people spend their entire lives on a fantasy island. Have you called that the fantasy island, which is what we call someday I will, right? Someday I'll do that. So John Maxwell have said, in other words, they think someday I'll do this, someday I'll do that, someday I'll be rich. So they don't live in a world of reality. Okay, they always live on some days. So also John have added that life is difficult, but here's the good news. Many of the things you desire to do in life are attainable if you are willing to face the reality. Okay? So to do this, you have to know your starting place. So count the cost of your goal and put in the work. Don't let your real situation discourage you. Everyone who got where they are started where they were. Okay? So if you look at it, okay, let me picture it to you. So let's take a look. Let's say you are in a mall, you're looking for a place, right? And it says in the map, you go to the directory, you pull it up, and then it says in the map, you are here, right? There's a big circle in there and it says you are here. Then look ahead and see where you wanted to go and where you were going. And it will give you a lot of self-awareness on that if you wanted to go wherever you want to go. So take that example on the map. If you are in a mall, so you are here, and then you want to find Starbucks somewhere in the top. Well, I love Starbucks, sorry. So going back in there, say, oh, I want to go to Starbucks. I want to get some coffee in there, or like breakfast or whatnot. And you want to go where to go. You wanted to see where you wanted to go. So similarly to our life, you want to be living in a reality. That's what they could start. So think about where you are right now. You are here, and where you wanted to go. Okay, so draw a map where you wanted to go, and that's what you're gonna get there. Now, to go there, it's sometimes you get, how you call it, you probably, this is what the things that you will face on. Okay, so in order for you to go to the place where you wanted to go, there are some things along the way. You will make mistakes, you will face some failures, setbacks, disappointments, and things like that. So how you manage it while you are pursuing where you're heading, right? So that's why it's very important that managing those things that you are been through in your life, but still keep that eye, keep that goal, the main objective, yours, the picture of your success in the front of you. Okay, so keep your success in mind, the objective, what you wanted to accomplish, where you wanted to go from where you at right now, from 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 5 years or 10 years from now, where you wanted to go. And along the way, expect that you will have these failures, losses, disappointments, setbacks. Okay, and how you manage that, but still aim your success or your where you wanted to go. Okay, it does takes a lot of self-awareness. So it will be beneficial if you knew who you are and your self-awareness of how to get there, to help you to know where you are today. Okay, and where you wanted to go. So once you figure that out, it will be much easier to handle it in the future. Okay, so then work hard to meet your objectives by then. Self-awareness is a key. Make sure you are on point. You are not, anything that happens to you, you still have that end goal that you wanted to do, even though you are facing disappointments, failures, losses, setbacks. Okay, good. So number 4, life is more difficult for those who are slow to make proper adjustment. So in our previous episode, we discussed about resilience. Okay, so if you missed that episode about resilience, feel free to go back. But in it, we discuss on how to cut our losses short. Most people, they don't cut their losses short quickly enough. Instead of cutting their losses short, they rationalize the decision that they made. They justify even why they did what they did and why they don't want to let it go. So when you cut your losses short, you will then able to change and make adjustments on your game plan. Maybe adjust your expectations based on what you have. And resilience is key to help yourself get back up there again when you are feeling down. Okay, resilience is key when you are feeling setback. Okay, so changing the game plan, adjustment, your game plan. You know how a lot of you, I'm sure you play sports, you watch sports, you love sports like football, basketball, or baseball, or what have you. You know how the coach will call their team and then say, hey, this is the last minute here. We have 5 more minutes. Let's change our game plan, right? So it's similar to us too. When we feel setbacks, we feel failures and losses, let's go back to the drawing board and see what our game plan is. What do we have? What we can control? What we cannot control? And proceed with that, with your game plan. It's similar here too in our life. You're gonna put on the game plan. How you gonna proceed with it and to reach your goal. Okay? So number 5, life is more difficult for those who don't respond correctly to challenges. So John Maxwell had said, people who respond correctly to adversity realize that their response to a challenge is what impacts the outcome. They accept and acknowledge the reality of their situation and act accordingly. Also, John added to that facing reality and maintaining a confident sense of expectation and performing at your best may not be easy, but it is possible. And it does make a huge difference in your life. It sets you up to learn, to grow, and to succeed. He also added the complacency, right? So John explained about the danger of complacency. So complacency anytime people are winning. So when you feel like you've been winning all the time, oh yeah, this is really good. I've been winning, I've been successful, and then at the end of the day, you kind of tempted to relax and sit back when things are going well. Well, the opposite of that is you should not be just sitting and relax. You gotta keep going. That's your momentum. You gotta build up your momentum. You already have that because you've been succeeding, you've been winning, but you gotta keep going. Don't sit back, don't relax. You can celebrate your win and losses, but don't go hang up with it. You gotta proceed, you gotta continue on to keep winning and to become successful more. Okay, so Jim Collins posed a question regarding this, and he said, how do we continue to grow and improve and become more when what we already have is pretty good? Right? The enemy, I think, if I recall correctly, the enemy of great is good. If you settle with good, how can you be in a great? So don't settle with good, aim for the great. Okay? When we experience winning and keep winning all the time, we become complacent. We are comfortable of being good. And did you know that the enemy of good is the great is good? Okay? So Microsoft founder Bill Gates observed that success is a lousy teacher. Success is a lousy teacher. It makes smart people think they can't lose. It also makes them think they don't need to learn. There are some examples of people who may think that they don't need to learn. So here are the phrases. You probably have heard these phrases before, right? Phrases such as been there, done that. I've been there, done that, who cares? Am I gonna do it again? But not knowing that, okay, you've been there, but what did you learn? How can you improve? What can you do differently? Right? Instead of saying been there, done that. And I would say, yeah, I've been there, done that. And so number two, probably you have heard these phrases: is success guarantees success. So just because you can do one thing well doesn't mean you can do all things well. You won't be able to be success with everything. Though there are some people are really great with 2, probably 3 things, but not all of them. Number 3, the banquet tour. When you succeed, people want to hear your story. However, here's a real danger that you can replace doing with speaking on that, okay? So consultant Gail Copper advises that when you win an award, let's say you won an award, everybody praise you on that award, she advised that set it up in a lobby and go back to work. You can celebrate. Don't get hang up with your win. You have 24 hours to celebrate it with your people, with your family, with close friends. Celebrate it. Of course you do. You gotta celebrate the wins. But after that, after the next day, you gotta get back to work. You gotta get back in there again, okay? And do over. Start over again. Because the things that we did today will be ending tonight. Or the things that you did yesterday ended last night. Okay, because today matters. You're gonna keep going, gonna keep learning, gonna keep succeeding, right? So number 4 is the momentum myth. This is what I discussed briefly earlier, that people's natural inclination after a win is to take a break, right? That's a bad idea if you take a break. When you're winning, capitalizing on the momentum, you'll be able to do things that might otherwise be impossible. Okay? Number 5, another phrase is one-hit wonders. Have you ever known someone who was successful once? Who was successful once and is still living off of it? It's a good idea to build off of yesterday. It's a bad idea to live off of it. The moral of the lessons here is don't leave your success from yesterday, because yesterday ended last night. Today is a new day, new challenge and opportunity. No things to learn. There's new things to learn, new things to discover. And the 6th one is the entitlement mindset. So entitlement mindset is people who have something that they didn't win for themselves, but start thinking they are entitled to have more. That's why many inherited businesses go out of business. To keep winning, you need to stay hungry and keep learning. Okay? So that's number 6. And number 7 is playing not to lose. So after people win, they become cautious and defensive. They worry about staying on top, not wanting to do something stupid. They do something stupid, they focus on not losing instead of winning. And then number 8 is the arrival plateau. The arrival plateau, some people become so focused on specific goal that when they hit it up, and they give up because they believe they already made it, they already arrived and stop growing. Okay, so John suggests that don't let what you know make you think that you know it all, because when you do think you know it all, you will miss a lot of opportunity and you will not growing and learning. Also, writer and philosopher Chris Manuri have said, to know is to be ignorant, not to know is the beginning of wisdom. So as you win and learn and grow, you face a genuine danger of thinking you know it all. Don't let that happen to you. You simply can't learn what you think you already know. In fact, once you learn something, there is so much more to learn, right? There's so much more to learn. So I hope these lessons of how to manage your failures and losses will give you some guidance on how to overcome them. So knowing that success is the result after we've successfully managed all the trials, tribulations, failures, losses, disappointments, and setbacks. When you manage it to the best of your ability, you will become successful. So in summary of these lessons, so number 1 is evaluate each experiences so that you won't make the same mistakes again. So learning by experience learning by experience alone won't help you as much, but evaluate those experiences and hopefully you won't do it again, will be more effective. Okay? Number 2, cut your losses short and get back up again. Do not linger to those failures and losses that you are experiencing, because the longer you stay there, the harder to get back up. So pick yourself up, dust it off, and ride the storm until it passed. Some of these are only temporary. You only make it permanent if you decided to do so. Okay? Number 3 is accept the fact that without failure and losses, we won't learn anything in our life. They are essential. These are essential. In fact, you have so much of this failure and losses in your life. By then, you become as known as professional to it, right? You become professional. Oh yeah, I have this a book of knowledge of failures and losses and mistakes. And because you've become professional about it, you will be able then to share this knowledge with other people, and other people that you wanted to help, and how to overcome it. Show it to them how you overcome it, so they too can overcome it. So share your wisdom to others. You learn all of this, mistakes, failures, and losses. You will gain wisdom. Think about it. You will gain wisdom, and those wisdom you'll be able to share it with someone. And number 4, learn to adapt. Do the things that you can control. One of the things that you can control is your emotions and your actions. Those 2 things, emotions and your actions. The other things that you do not have a control of, in due time it will solve itself out. Just have faith and hope along the way while you are working on the things that you can control. Okay? So my final thought on this episodes or these lessons that we have is life is about managing what we have. Do the best of what we can. To do the best of what we can. We are the steward of it all. Both successes and failures, we are the steward of it. Embrace them and accept that it is part of our life, and manage it to the best as you can and to the best of your ability. Okay? So now, in closing, if this is your first time tuning in into our podcast, I thank you and welcome you to our growth journey. You are tuning in because perhaps someone referred you to our podcast, or you have found us in a website or via ad, or whatever the reasons may be. You are tuning in because you knew that you can be more and you have potential to grow but you just don't know where to begin and where to start, and we can help you to get there. Tuning in this podcast. I'm glad you're here and made that decision. So feel free to subscribe or follow so you will get notification and keep you up to date to the new episodes that we are releasing. So we always releasing every Sunday, once a week, every Sunday, and you can listen to any time you want, right? That's the beauty about the podcast. Also, if this podcast had helped you in some ways, had inspired you and giving you some words of wisdom or something that you have learned here, please feel free to share this podcast to anyone you know. Either families, friends, colleagues, your neighbor, or people you just met somewhere, or whoever. Feel free to share this podcast so they too can learn for all the lessons that we are learning here. And no matter how old, experienced, or young they are, everyone needs to grow, right? And there are plenty of room to grow and improve and practice and having abundance mindset. So this is what we're teaching here in our growth journey, is having abundance mindsets and beginners mindset, right? There are so many things to learn in our life, in this world, and when you do share our podcast to someone, you too are making a difference to their lives. Our goal of this podcast is to make an impact and make a difference to the lives of others, in one person at a time, one community at a time, and one nation at a time. And the last piece that I would like to mention is that if you would like to start investing in your own personal growth and take this complimentary podcast episode to the next level and help you to become more and to be more, so you can take that next step forward and join my membership program. As a trainer, coach, and mentor, I am now opening up the opportunity for you all to join my membership club. Our deeper dive teaching on the 15 valuable laws of growth today matters. Deeper dive on connecting to help you to become a better connector and also become a better leader to your team if you are leading someone. And all of that is available here, and also your personal growth as well. In our premium membership subscription, we will provide many tools and resources available to you. So for additional information, feel free to click on the link. The website is www.sherylhart.padbean.com to sign up, and everything will be available in that website. Okay, either bi-weekly, monthly, or yearly premium, you can select on that as well. So everything, all the information are here are available in a text box. So when you click on the episode, there are a lot of text in there. I put a summary on it, and down below you will see all these links that are available there. Okay, also I have my email address as well. If you wanted to share with me what you're going through or something that you wanted to learn or feedback, feel free to email me. My email address is share@sheryiheart.com, and I will love to hear from you. Okay, with that, as always, and always remember, if you don't invest in your own personal growth, no one will. Take care and be well.